Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Iconic Repaints, back after a long time. Sorry about that. I knew there was going to be a lull after I put so much kind of time and energy into my last video, which was the Tease Facto Godzilla Evolution Kit. I didn't quite expect it to be this long. I've just been catching up with a whole lot of commissions, but just to jump right into this guy, this is the Kaiyodo Godzilla 1955. This is another kit. It's not made out of resin, and he's made out of vinyl. He's a lot lighter. He's a lot smaller. The texture is not as good as the Tease Facto. So definitely a whole different universe, but it is a kit. It is, you know, for someone who's kind of new at building them, it was kind of good practice. So a little background on this Godzilla, of course. The original masterpiece that jump-started this whole entire saga was Godzilla King of the Monsters from 1954, well, Gojira. And this, the success of that movie demanded a sequel, and they kind of spun one out real quick. And it came out in 1955, Godzilla Raids Again. I used to have this movie on VHS as a kid, and just like most other people, I thought it was a horrible movie, a terrible sequel. A very boring film, but within the last couple of years, I was finally, for the first time, able to see the Japanese version, and it is a lot better compared to the American version. If you haven't seen the Japanese version, give it a chance. So 1955, it was the first. It was obviously the first sequel. It was the only other black and white Godzilla movie. And in it, it was the first time Godzilla fights another monster, which would obviously become what the franchise would later be known for. And they introduced the enemy, the opponent is Anguirus, who is a giant mutated ankylosaurus spin-off monster creature thing. So Anguirus would later also become a mainstay in the series for quite a bit of time. He would transition from enemy to Godzilla's ally. But yeah, in this movie, man, the fight they have is not like other Godzilla fights. There's minimal, silliness and wrestling moves, suplexes, crazy teamwork or throwing boulders or rocks at each other. They're not spamming heat ray at each other. Like, this was a lot of claws and teeth and going for the jugular, and it was a very brutal, natural kind of predatory encounter. Spoiler alert: Godzilla wins. And yeah, so this Godzilla was, of course, not the same Godzilla from the 1954 movie. That guy did die at the end. This one is another one of the species, and he was the one that will later go on to become the hero later on in the series. But the look is pretty much similar to the 1954 look, just a lot thinner. They wanted more movement for the suit actors, so they slimmed down the costume. It's a little jarring sometimes. He looks awkward at angles. I've kind of grown fond of this design over the years. He's kind of treated like the redheaded stepchild of the series of Godzilla designs. He's a lot of fans always thought he's one of the ugliest, and maybe he is, but after Shin Godzilla and seeing all the love Shin Godzilla gets for such a ugly, grotesque looking incarnation of Godzilla, it's kind of funny. Like, this guy probably was Shin Godzilla-ing before Shin Godzilla-ing was cool. And he's very grotesque looking. He's unnatural looking. He's got these beady eyes, and he just kind of looks downright terrifying and unlovable. So you don't really see this figure kind of come out a lot because he's not really that popular. The movie's certainly not that popular, and but the fact that it was a kit that I was getting for a really good deal, and on top of it, it was sculpted by Yuji Sakai, one of the premier sculptors of anything Godzilla. And with that, I built this guy up. I was really excited about it. Painting him was kind of a challenge because I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do with him. Do I keep it black and white monochrome? Do I go with like a poster color version? Do I make him brown? Do I make him kind of like a pea green? A hybrid of all that? I didn't really know, but I did settle on kind of keeping things in line with a black and white aesthetic. And I used to have the X plus 30 centimeters figure. I actually really really enjoyed it. I liked it more than the 1954 30 centimeter figure. I thought it was a really cool design. I had it paired up with the 1955 Anguirus. They looked great together, but when I did trim down the collection, I sold them both. I just couldn't really resist selling them both together for the money. So I hoard out, and sometimes I regret it, but what are you gonna do? And now I have this guy, and does he fill that gaping hole? No. But he's really cool. I think if he was a little bigger, I think I'd probably feel like, he's definitely more of a permanent fix, but there's nothing really that I have that's his size. But working with vinyl was, different. It was really cool. Obviously, like I said, the texture is not the same. It does lack some of the detail. It's harder to paint when the detail's more smoother and not really as like texturized. So like even the eyes were a challenge, and this Godzilla has very very recognizable eyes and like recognizable spines. So just wanted to like really kind of enjoy working on a Godzilla that I think is actually rather unique looking and underestimated. So yeah, so again, being generous, he's 7 inches tall. Probably on a good day, he might even be less than that. He's very light. I mean, he doesn't, the sculpt is actually, I'm impressed with the sculpt for the size and weight of this kit. He looks a lot more. He looks more quality than his size and weight would indicate. But yeah, so this is again the Kaiyodo Godzilla 1955. This is my third kit I put together. My second Godzilla one. He's definitely a far drop away from what I did with the Tease Facto, but yeah, no, I enjoyed this guy, and I think this guy definitely deserves some love. So yeah, so I got other things coming up that I'm working on currently. Can't wait to keep putting them out. But yeah, considering I do so much of like the Godzilla 2019 stuff or 2021 with like the really blue effects and everything like that, it is nice to do things like this guy that are more traditional and old school and just getting back to the roots a little bit. I appreciate you guys for watching. Be back soon. Peace.